thought they had found the perfect moment to attack. On March 22, 2025, somewhere over the waters of the Red Sea, on a clear day with almost perfect visibility, an American F-16 Fighting Falcon fighter jet was conducting a standard patrol. Nothing unusual, typical altitude, regular mission. But suddenly, ping! The radar screen lit up with an alarming red light. Radar lock. Another contact, and another. Missile launch. Brake, brake, brake! The pilot commands, sharply yanking the control stick. Instincts take over. The F-16 sharply veers right, banking hard, dropping flares and activating countermeasures. The infrared-guided missile slices through the air, fired from territory controlled by the Houthis in Yemen. Fast, silent, deadly. The fighter descends, engines roaring. Above them, interference from a group of EA-18G Growlers. An E-2D Hawkeye aircraft launched from the USS Eisenhower enters the scene to monitor the situation. The missile adjusts its course, tracking the heat signature of the F-16's engine, 30 seconds to impact. The pilot performs a hard maneuver at 9G. The entire aircraft creaks under the strain. "Fox 3 defensive," he shouts into the radio. The last flare flashes behind, distracting the missile. Boom! The missile explodes in midair, failing to cause damage. The fighter survived. But now the question was not how the Houthis had managed to launch a missile so close, but what would happen when you fire and miss. It wasn't just an air battle, it was a trap. The missile didn't miss its target by accident. In recent weeks, the situation in the Red Sea had been intensifying, both literally and figuratively. Commercial tankers began changing their routes, and American destroyers patrolled the waters. The Houthis had become increasingly bold. This was not the first incident. Just a few days earlier, an American MQ-9 Reaper drone was shot down off the coast of Yemen. It didn't even have time to react. The Houthis released images of burning debris lying off the coast as proof of their victory. A move that was not without a response, of course, but it emboldened them. And then they made their biggest mistake. They assumed that the drone and the fighter jet were the same target. The U.S. began issuing warnings. Aircraft carriers changed their formations. Aegis-equipped destroyers were repositioned. But the Houthis, relying on Iranian technology and training, continued to escalate. When the F-16 appeared in their radar range, they fired. But this time, the fighter jet wasn't just evading the strike, it was responding. The F-16 was part of an ISR intelligence surveillance reconnaissance system designed to track missile activity along the coast of Yemen. And the pilot didn't know that he was the last piece in a dangerous bait and trap game. In recent weeks, the Pentagon had changed the rules of engagement. There was no longer any waiting. If the radar detected a hostile object, the response was immediate. The Houthi missile system made a fatal mistake. It remained active for too long after launch, and that was its final mistake. The signal from the pilot was recorded, analyzed, and used for targeting. The entire process, from thermal imagery to GPS coordinates, initiated the countdown. At an altitude of 28,000 feet, the F-16 was moving west along the Yemen border. The pilot had just managed to recover from his maneuvers when his radar lit up again. A new contact, and more missiles. Now there were more, not one but several radar locks, fast, sequential. The ALR-56M system in his helmet screamed, SA-6 lock. The SA-6 class surface-to-air missile system, although of Soviet origin, had been upgraded and supplied to the Houthis through Iran. Difficult to detect and deadly when activated. And now these missiles were aimed at him. The pilot immediately engages afterburners. He activates countermeasures The flares are ready. Behind him, hot exhaust trails, an ideal target for an infrared-guided missile. Viper 3, defensive. Multiple locks, repeat. Multiple launch points, request support. Above him, the VAQ-140 Growler was already jamming the Houthis' radar, providing the pilot with precious time. He dives into a steep descent, the G-forces pressing him into his seat. Visibility narrows, but he holds his course. The decoys flash, creating the illusion of many targets. One of the missiles flies within 200 feet, close enough to rattle the cockpit. But that was enough. This was the last chance. The Houthis didn't know they were being watched. From 60,000 feet, a U.S. Navy MQ-4C Triton drone was overseeing the situation, transmitting all data in real time to the command center aboard the USS Eisenhower. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes, but the consequences were predictable. The pilot returned to the waiting area over the Red Sea, joined by a second F-16 for cover. Then came the message: engagement confirmed, target data locked, hold position, birds en route. The missiles were already on their way. Aboard the R. Lee Burke-class destroyer, the VLS launchers opened. Inside, Tomahawks. As they neared the target, JDAMs and AGM-88 HARM missiles would follow. The target had been locked in, and the coordinates confirmed. The missiles were launched. Within minutes, the U.S. fleet delivered a retaliatory strike. The Tomahawks hit the target with pinpoint accuracy. Then came the JDAMs, continuing the destruction, neutralizing the remaining threat. This wasn't just an attack, it was a message, quick and precise, with no unnecessary noise. Later, the Pentagon would confirm that the U.S. reserves the right to defend its forces. The response was given, fast, and in a way that the enemy would remember. Should the United States keep up the pressure on Houthi positions? Or is it time to step back before things spiral into a wider conflict? Share your thoughts down below. If you found this breakdown useful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and help us hit that 100K milestone. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you in the next video.